as a person who does the cooking in your house, there are some things that you're gonna have to do, even if you hate them. If you don't do them, at least find a way to navigate or solve them. And I'm gonna share three of them. Number one, doing the dishes. Now, of course, off the top of my head, if you dislike doing dishes and you want somebody else to take care of that, let that be known. Ask for it. Or it may have been something that has been set, like a rule has been set in your house, that you cook, everybody else cleans, or somebody else cleans. So that's an obvious solution. Hand it off to somebody else. You don't, so that you don't have to do it. If, however, you are somebody who then has to go back around and either micromanage how it's done or do it over because it wasn't done the way you want it, this is what you're gonna have to learn. Let them do the dishes, or let whoever is doing the dishes do the dishes. You don't want to do it, let them do it. And whatever happens, happens. Now, yes, one would hope that whoever is doing the dishes has either learned from you. So, in the case of kids, they learned from you because you taught them how, or is an adult, should be adult enough to get their dishes clean. The other thing is, if you come from a household, and I know a lot of black households, and especially if you come from the Caribbean, washing the dishes, especially by hand, is probably why you hate washing the dishes. I know for me, that's why I absolutely hate washing the dishes by hand. So, as an adult, you can exercise your free will and don't wash it by hand. Use a dishwasher if you have access to one. It is a very liberating thing to do, and once you give yourself that permission, doing the dishes might still irritate you if you're the one that is doing it, but with the help of the dishwasher, it's not that tedious, or it's no longer that tedious of a task. So if you hate doing the dishes, like I did as a kid growing up, absolutely hated it. I would find every excuse not to do the dishes, trying to pawn it off to my sister. I still hate doing the dishes now, but I've accepted that I have free will and I have a dishwasher. And so I will utilize that dishwasher because I like my dishes done a certain way. And of course, I will arrange them in the dishwasher how I like them. So, and then sometimes if I don't want to do the dishes, the husband does the dishes. By doing that, just loading them into the dishwasher. So that is the solution for somebody who dislikes doing the dishes. The second thing that you're going to have to navigate, accept, find a solution for, or find a solution for dealing with it, probably accepting it, is forcing whoever is eating in your house to clean their plates. Now, there are so many reasons for one wanting that, but if you're somebody who tends to clean your plate and you have somebody else who tends to leave food on their plate, and to you that is wasting food, then you have to ask yourself, what is it? What the actual problem is? For, let's use an example. You may have grown up where that was the, what's the word? That was something that was practiced, or that's something you heard all the time. Clean your plate. Don't leave no food. Your parent work hard for the food. Therefore, you need to eat all of the food, which meant at some point you ignored whether or not you were full or satisfied, and would eat past that just so to clear your plate. If you are the person who has then learned that you have to clean your plate, and not cleaning your plate meant wasting food, but you are in a household with somebody who has no problem stopping when you're full or not being satisfied, that is their preference. Whether the food wastes or not is not the issue. The issue is, or the thing to remember is, they are satisfied. So that is your issue with that, is your problem. So you have to examine why that is such an issue for you. And so you have to work on allowing people or allowing the folks in your house, whether even if it's your children and your spouse, allow them to exercise their right to stop when they don't want to eat any more food. So rather than forcing them to clean their plates, be proud of them for acknowledging their body signals. And then now you have to do that work to ask yourself, are you eating past fullness, or are you cleaning your plate just to clean your plate because it's a habit that's been ingrained, or are you completely full when you're by the time you're done? And accept the fact that you're just gonna have differences between your appetite and ability and satiety thresholds and the other people in your household. So that's number two. And number three, this one can be pretty challenging, is when you have varying tastes. So, for example, I'm not a big fan of the dark meat. I'm more of a white meat, chicken rather. I'm more of a lean meat, lean chicken person. My husband is more into the dark meat, so the leg and thigh. I'm more of a breast and wing kind of girl. And so the differences or needing to cook something that's going to satisfy both of us. Yes, that means, yeah, sure, I could cook half a chicken, but sometimes I don't have half a chicken like that. I would buy either all tenderloins, breast, or buy quarters. And then I don't always have them thawed out at the same time. So it's either the quarters are going to be cooked because that's what was taken out, or it's either the breast that's going to be cooked because that's what was taken out. So there is that difference in taste. And so finding that balance of creating meals that can satisfy both. Another example is I'm dairy free and my husband is not. And so finding that middle ground of meals that can satisfy both of us, give him meals that, or if there are meals that are made with dairy in there, what aspect of the meal can be made so that I can have and I'm not doing double work. And granted, sometimes you might need to do double work. For example, if just you and your spouse or your significant other or partner, maybe the double work is not actually double work. It could just be, so for example, I am very easy to please as far as eating meals go. I mean, I can just throw anything together. I will eat about anything thrown together. My husband is not. He's very particular. And so, whereas even if two separate things need to be made, the most complex part is probably his. Mine is very easy. Throwing a salad together is very easy for me. Mixing together leftovers, I have no problem doing that. He's more of a fresh meal type of person. Not that it doesn't happen, but not that he doesn't eat leftovers, but I'm just sharing that the difference in tastes will often mean finding either a middle ground where you can make a meal that can satisfy both tastes, or make enough of something that you can then split and cater to the different tastes. So I'll use an example: pasta. I'm a red sauce pasta person. My spouse is a creamy, cheesy pasta person. How I make this easier is buying cream sauce, red sauce. Cook the same pasta, cook a base, two different pots, using two different sauces. The only thing that changed, the only thing that was different is using the sauce. The same preparation happens in two separate pots, just the sauce that changes. And this is happening at the same time. That's just me. That's my preference. That is something that has worked. That's something that continues to work. And it's an option, or accepting that early. How do you make it easier on yourself when you have people in your household that have different tastes? I can't speak to say if you have children who have different tastes from you, but the other thing I can acknowledge is that at some point maybe some kind of conversion needs to happen, meaning everybody converts to a particular way of eating because there's one person who eats this particular way. And if you're the cook in the house, it is far more likely that everybody else will convert to what you cook based on your preference. Of course, you will acknowledge certain preferences of some people might not want this in theirs, but it could be the same meal and maybe no onions in somebody else's. Or if you have somebody in your house that's gluten free or needs to be gluten free because of celiac disease, then it's very likely that the rest of the household meals will kind of veer to being gluten free because it's far easier to be for the entire household to be gluten free than it is to just make something gluten free without impacting them. So if the person has celiac disease, it is far easier for the whole household to convert than it is to ensure that there's no gluten whatsoever in the person who has celiac disease because it can be very deadly. So if you notice it, if it's situations like that, one would expect that either the whole the there to be some kind of conversion. If it's just a matter of taste and preferences, then again I go back to what I said. Finding some kind of middle ground that can accommodate, if not entirely, bits and pieces of the different tastes or preferences that exist in the household. So, and it's a reality and it's something that one has to accept if you want the cooking process to be something that is not stressful or to be nourishing, is how you think about what is involved and how you think about the process. So if you take your biases and prejudices out of the meal making process, especially when it's being done for others, it makes it far more enjoyable for you. Can I guarantee that? Absolutely not. Because you might do that and still resent it. And if you resent it, cooking is never going to be fun for you or the people who have to eat. In which case, you will need to find another solution, such as outsourcing your cooking, either using a meal prep service or hiring a chef. And that's a reality. It's a privilege to do so, and not everybody can afford that. But this is why I said mindset is important. So how you think about food and cooking and the meal making process is going to impact your ability to do or not. And if you're somebody who's curious and you're willing to explore and try things, then it makes it a little less. It makes it far more. It makes it easier. Certainly more doable than trying to be rigid and forcing everybody to do what you want them to do or what you would like them to do. For example, if you are somebody who considers yourself to eat healthy, so you tend to avoid the processed foods and you don't want to eat the snacks and whatnot, but you have somebody else in your household who does, accepting that is important, which means you can't live for the other person. You have to do what's good for you. And if what's good for you is not having the overly ultra processed foods or not eating the candy and making sure your meals are a certain way, then accepting that you're doing it for you is going to make you less stressed. That is the truth. And allowing the other person or persons to not necessarily do what they want, especially if they're kids. If they're kids, that's an entirely different conversation, which I have no experience with because I do not have kids. But as far as having a spouse or a partner, I can say that they either get on board or they take care of it themselves. And that is just, maybe there's going to be some friction, but they're adults. They will survive. They will be okay. You have to put yourself first. So even though you are the cook and you take care of somebody else or others, you're the one that makes sure that others get fed. If you are the person that makes sure that others get fed, it's important for you to also put yourself first because the self-sacrificing thing, don't subscribe to it. So let me recap these three things that I think that you have to either accept or find a way to navigate if you cannot solve as the person who does the majority cooking in your household. Number one, the dishes. Outsource the dishes to either one of your children, if they're old enough to do that, or to the other adults in your house. Outsource it as in ask for their help or make it a chore that somebody else does. If you have to be the one, if you're the one taking care of the dishes, then find a way to make it easier. Utilize your dishwasher as many times a week as you need to. You could even do things like wait to use a dishwasher as opposed to say you doing it every night. If you're concerned about say your water bill or whatever the case might be, a little hack, especially if you've got ADHD, dishes can pile up. I'm gonna tell on myself here, and the weird thing I will do is I will neatly arrange dirty dishes in my sink until I'm ready to put them in the dishwasher, because that is a task that requires energy, especially after I'm done cooking, if my husband doesn't do it. So this is one of those things that I accept. And then I have to accept the fact that there are dirty dishes in the sink. So as much as how I don't like the dishes, sometimes having the dishes in the sink, I can't do anything else in the kitchen until I clear that, right? But then other times I make it, I have to let that go. So sometimes you just have to let something go. I let that go because of my energy levels, and just where I'm at or how much I need to get done. Sometimes it's I see it, but I don't let it come to the forefront of my mind. I see it and let it go. So I neatly stack the dishes until I am ready to load the dishwasher or clear the dishes myself, wash them myself, if I don't outsource it. So that's when it comes to washing the dishes. You don't have to love washing the dishes. You probably don't even have to do the dishes, but know how to solve that issue of you not liking the dishes. You either think about it differently and say, okay, you're going to stack them until you're ready to load them in the dishwasher or wash them. You're going to outsource it to somebody. Uh, you are going to use the dishwasher as often as you need to, but the dishes need to get done. So that's one. Two is not everybody has to clean your plate. And just because they don't clean the plate doesn't mean they're intentionally wasting food. It simply means that they've reached their capacity in terms of satisfaction. They've had their fill. It's okay. That's why I utilize a compost bin. Make a compost bin if what you're concerned about is food waste. Make a compost bin, and if there are parts of the meal that can be stored as leftover, then store it as leftover if somebody's going to eat it. The thing about that is, if you know they're not going to eat it, then throw that in the compost bin or throw it away. Yes, food waste is an issue. Food waste can be a concern. It might be a concern of yours, but it is better. Save your sanity, basically. Like, why are you going to argue about whether somebody clean their plate or not? Just why? I know groceries are expensive, but at the same time, people are exercising their free will, and that includes your kids. So if you clean your plate and you are satisfied, great. Somebody else might not clean their plate, but they are also satisfied. Both things can be true. It doesn't mean you're intentionally wasting food, and it doesn't mean your money's going down the drain. It just means what you've provided was enough. Sometimes it might be even more than what they needed. Yeah. So either and that might change from day to day, because I could say either give people less food, but then they might want more. And then that's the other thing. If they want more, then you're going to say, well, that's all you're going to get. Again, that can cause problems as far as if they're never satisfied, or if they never get filled, or they don't get enough. That's where cravings come in, and who knows, that's where then you have another set of problems. So accepting the fact that your satiety level and the other folks in your household satiety level can be different. Okay, and then the third thing to accept or navigate or find a solution for, which I've offered, is being okay with the different tastes and preference. This aligns with also the differences in satiety, or how much it takes to make somebody satisfied. For example, I will eat one burger. I will make burgers for dinner. I will eat one. My husband will want two, and yet he will still have a bite or two of both burgers left, but he's done. I, on the other hand, will eat the whole burger and be full. he will leave some of the burger, some of the fries, or whatever else is served with it. Two different preferences, two different satiety levels. As far as preferences concerned, when you have differing preferences, learn or figure out a way to create a middle ground so that some of it can be met. If not all of it can be met, create meals that can meet multiple uh, needs. For example, having a taco night, you have different fillings. Everybody gets their own taco and they can fill it based on their preferences. It could be create having, half of the chicken being the breast and the rest of the servings being the leg and thigh, and it serves same meal, seasoned same way, serving two different tastes. It could be again the pasta that I mentioned, one in cream sauce, one in Alfredo sauce. You boil all of the pasta in the same water, then you separate them and mix in the different sauces. So different preferences can be met either by a middle ground or finding simpler ways to make two separate meals or multiple meals. Yeah. So as the person in the kitchen all the time, there are going to be things you don't like. Some of them you have to accept. Others you also have to accept and find ways to navigate if you really don't like it, or if it's the thing that's going to prevent you from cooking or nourishing yourself better, then finding a solution or finding a way to navigate it is important. It's up to you. Cooking doesn't have to be stressful. It doesn't have to be something you hate. It can be something you enjoy at a level that makes sense for you. It can be something that you participate in, and while you might not have the love of it, like some folks do, it can be a very nourishing experience, certainly to enjoy whatever it is that you create, if nothing else, to enjoy that meal, right? So I hope these are helpful. Remember to like and subscribe this channel, but also if what you want is more of these nourishing insights, meal ideas and recipes, then go ahead and join the weekly dose at baseballnutrition.com/the-weekly-dose. Until tomorrow, good night.